So here we are on the grammar online textbook, as you can see, and we're on page 36, starting with the oral practice, identifying sentences and sentence fragments. This is the first section in chapter 2, and essentially the objective here is to be able to identify when something is a complete sentence and when it is a sentence fragment. And it says be prepared to explain your answers. So I'll go through a few of them. Generally, when you read a sentence out loud, you can tell if it's a sentence or a sentence fragment just due to your fluency with the language. So the trick is, if you get stumped with one, to actually read it aloud or read it aloud in your head to figure out whether or not it's a sentence or a fragment. So number 1. Willa Cather was born in Back Creek Valley in Northern Virginia. Sentence. Subject is Willa Cather. Verb phrase was born. So Willa Cather was born, and then we have two prepositional phrases, in Back Creek Valley and in Northern Virginia. But that's a complete thought. Number 2. In 1883, when she was 9 years old. So we can tell by that sentence that it's a fragment just from hearing it. But why is it a fragment? It's a fragment because of this word when. When makes this into a dependent clause, which we talk about clauses in chapter 4. But the reason it's a fragment is because it's dependent. It's waiting for the so what. What's the rest of the sentence? So when she was 9 years old is a dependent clause. It still has a subject, she, and a verb, was, but it's waiting for this, well, when what? What's the rest of the sentence? So that's fragment. Her family moved to the treeless prairie of Nebraska. Again, that's a sentence. She tracked buffalo and collected prairie flowers. Sentence. Fascinated by the wild and rolling plains. So you're thinking, so what? That means it's a fragment. It's not a complete thought. And this fascinated by the wild and rolling plains is actually a phrase. Fascinated is a verbal, and again, we learn about those in chapter 3. It's a verbal phrase, this entire thing. So hopefully that talked you through a little bit about sentences and sentence fragments. If you have any questions, do the practice exercises and then check yourself and then come in to see me.